why you work like that. Take a break, why you work like that. But it don't work like that. They watch the grind, but don't work like that. They wanna shine, wants to work like that. But it don't work like that. I keep it 10-10s just like that. They try to blend in just like that. But it don't work like that. No, it don't work like that.
Awesome. So for the first kind of questions that we wanted to jump into, we wanted to kind of talk about your album. And we started off the podcast listening to your newest single, Work Like That. And we also know that your new album, Out of Office, is available now, we're pretty sure. And so we just wanted to kind of talk about your inspirations behind the Out of Office album in general, and like what ideas you had kind of going into that production.
Sure. So yeah, Out of Office, I wrote it a few months ago. It was after dropping a project called Working From Home Extended, which was inspired by a lot of the current events that were in that moment. If you could remember June 2020, racial reckoning, just the newness of the pandemic, that feeling of being trapped inside and not really knowing when you'll be able to see your loved ones. Out of Office kind of plays off of the same, I guess, colloquialism that you have in corporate America with like working from home or paid time off or, whatever. But I also wanted to take a different approach as far as artistry, which was tell the story of, a protagonist that basically has like a weekend outside of work, if you think of the intro in The Office, the interlude Out of Office, and then the outro Monday Morning, the fact that they all use the same beat as well, it's like 1/3 of the story. And then when you listen to all three of them together, it completes the story. And then all the songs in between are that journey out of office and then back into office. So, it's a way to kind of, unpeel the layers, if you will, of just, call me Ace Patterson, the corporate employee, the artist, the human being, the husband, the son, the friend, all these different things, and then just wrap them up into, some pretty fun rhyme schemes. So that's kind of like what it is. And, I definitely delve into like several different topics with regards to generational wealth or, family issues that you might not even feel comfortable talking about in the office, right? And then just like everything in between. Wanted to go deeper, like I mentioned earlier, wanted to tell more of a narrative and do a bit more storytelling. So that's kind of where Out of Office came from. And then of course, like the artwork that I drew, I love the show The Office with, Steve Carell and team. So I thought, why not, just play around on that, throw myself in that kind of story, so to speak.
Yeah, I definitely noticed the graphic design and that and the Office inspiration in there. I thought that was awesome. Super cool.
No, I appreciate it. It was a good show, man.
Awesome. Emma has another question for you, if she wants to jump in.
Yes, definitely. So we were curious on what are some dream collaborators that you would like to work with, or any future projects that we could possibly look forward to?
Ooh, future collaborations, I'm not sure. I kind of go with the flow, so to speak. If I have a song that, calls for a certain mood, or, if I have a certain relationship with an artist, I'm like, I think you do really well there, then I'll reach out. But I don't really, I do think far in advance, but I don't really think that far in advance. But I am making new music for sure. I have, I'm doing a lot of things. So like on the one hand, I have like 3 producers that I'm working with currently on some new music. Just finished writing 2 songs over the weekend. But, I'm also shooting, like Out of Office just dropped a month ago, and so I'm still pushing that. I just dropped a live performance last Friday. What was that, 3 days ago? That's out. I did a few of the songs. I miss performing live. I miss like being on stage and, getting to interact with the crowd, run through the, the sea of people and whatnot. And so just wanted to give like a little taste of that. Shooting a music video later on this week, and planning to shoot another one a couple weeks from then. So definitely, still moving around, doing a bunch of things. And a few people have also just reached out to me to I don't want to give away the names, but you know, they want to do features together. So probably hop on some of their stuff. And, you know, they're ranging from the United States, London, Colombia, Peru. So it'd be fun, but I don't know. I don't want to give too much away.
Just to jump in, but for a follow-up, is there anything that you could reveal about that new music video coming out?
I could say that it's for Tesla.
Oh, that's impressive. That's awesome. Yeah, you don't have to give out too much info.
I won't tell you what it'll be. I'll tell you that's the song. And it's
awesome.
interesting because when I made Tesla, like I definitely, I don't know, I was in a mood. I was in like a fun mood kind of thing. And I mean, I like all my songs, but I didn't realize like how much people were gonna like that song in particular. There were a couple songs where I'm like, oh, you know, people are really gonna love. Like someone just texted me like 10 minutes ago saying, man, I just never get tired of work like that. I'm like looking at it right now, and it just goes on, but I'm in the middle of this conversation. But just like, you know, people like definitely like work like that. They like Love Goals, right? And so like those were my lead singles that I like led with. But then there were some that like I didn't think people were gonna love that much, like Tesla or Full Capacity or Flow State. I was like, oh snap, you know what I mean? Like let me kind of pivot because I had an idea as to like what videos I was gonna make. And so for me to be making Tesla now, I had actually planned to make a different song, but or a different video for a different song, but you know, I gotta do what the people want, you know what I mean? So that's all I gotta say about that.
And speaking of like music videos, I was watching Love Goals and also Work Like That music video, and I was really impressed with the production and just everything is just very impressive. So I wanted to know what goes into making a music video of that caliber.
Yeah, shout outs to New Media because you know, they definitely bring, you know, the expertise and the vision. You know, they from the moment we sit down and we're like, okay, we're gonna make a video together. You know, we scope out like, okay, what are some ideas that are in like Ace's brain, and I just start throwing some stuff outside, and then you know the team, the directors, the producer, they take the song, the video, or sorry, the song, the lyrics, and all of the ideas that I had in my head. They go to a drawing board, come up with some stuff, and then they build a treatment, and then we go through the treatment together. It's usually in like near final draft form, and we tweak some things. We think about like, you know, locations, you know, they do scouting, right? Like all these different things. We come to an agreement as far as like, okay, this is what we want the vision to be. And then we just show up on set, and you know, I love working with them because, you know, they're very creative, and they think outside the box too. And they're also able to improv. So even though we can like show up and have kind of a plan, if something sparks their interest, you know, we'll run with that and move forward with that. And then they like working with me because I don't know, I just run around. I'm kind of like, you know, whatever they want me to do, I'll do it. And so, yeah, it usually ends up just being a fun time to really perform and kind of bring to life what the lyrics actually are supposed to be. So I definitely appreciate that. All my videos in some way, shape, or form, like I've desired to kind of do something different, more than just like, hey, this is Ace like standing somewhere. I definitely wanted to, whether it was in like an effect or a concept, a storyline or what have you, I've always tried to like do something different, right? And so working with them, they've definitely captured my desire and was able to, you know, bring it to what I feel like is the next level. So I'm happy you like the videos because I do.
Thank you. Yeah, they're really amazing.
Yeah, no, they're super great. I mean, as students who are about to graduate, we're wondering how does Ace Patterson in the YouTube office, the corporate office, the first film, Call Me Ace, who we see on stage or in the studio, like how do you navigate those two different words and still like what's in like we're wondering like what is the commonality and the difference between the two of the two characters that are you?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And I love that you called them characters because, you know, when we think about it, we're all actors. where we all show up to different stages in different ways. And, you know, our interactions and the way we, you know, move around life with our families is different than how we move around with our professors. And it's how it's different from, you know, our senior year classmates versus our freshman year classmates and high schoolers and, you know, random strangers on the street. We don't just throw out our personal information to a stranger, but we'd be willing to like tell our mom what our social security number is, right? And so all these different things, we're good at that. We're good at turning on and turning off when we need to. And I think it really comes down to that. And so for me, you know, when I'm at work, I'm at work. I'm at the point in my life where it's not a secret anymore. There was a time when it was a secret when I was a consultant, and it was very much like, you know, Carl Mays is some completely other human being. You know, if somebody brings him up in real life, I don't know who that is. You know, this is me, I'm over here, right? Whereas now it's like, we know who you are. And so that does come, you know, in some like tricky situations as far as like, you know, at the end of the day, I'm not hired by my job to be a rapper. And so I still have to show up and do my job and do it to the best of my abilities. And so I think, you know, while it's cool to have both, I do respect the boundaries between the two, because if I didn't respect the boundaries between the two, I don't think I'd be able to do them, because, you know, it would affect one or the other. You know, if I didn't do the things that I know I need to do as an artist, for example, and instead was trying to bring like the corporate stuff into the art world, it probably wouldn't resonate as much, or it probably wouldn't work, you know, because the music business is just different, and then just the way that I'm doing it is different. And so, and vice versa, like I'm not gonna, it'd be fun, but like I'm not gonna like, maybe once, but I'm not gonna like wrap all of my presentations to like the vice president, you know what I mean? Like I would maybe like for like 2 seconds, it'd be cool, but like not like, right, like they're not paying me for that, you know what I mean? And so like being able to speak both languages, right, and navigate both environments, I think is something that I think we're all capable of doing. And the temptation, I think, is to, I don't know, assume that you can be the same way in every situation. I think it's idealistic. I think there are ways in which we can be comfortable with who we are in different situations, but I think being comfortable with where you are doesn't mean that you're acting the same way at all the times, right? And so to go in, you know, even deeper, right? Like I'm well aware of my skin color in these environments. In no way do I feel like I'm an imposter in this environment. You know, I don't feel like I have to, you know, walk around with my head down in these environments, you know, because I'm comfortable with who I am, and I understand what I can bring to these tables. And I think, you know, I don't have to overcompensate or, you know, act, you know, in a certain way that kind of makes me feel like I can't just be myself and talk. You know, sometimes I slip up and I say slang in the office, you know what I mean? But that's not gonna like deteriorate the quality of my work, you know what I mean? And likewise, like in the music industry, especially, right? Like I don't feel like I have to rap about guns and drugs if that's not the life that I'm living. But you have, right? Like I say this and it might sound like matter of fact, but you have people that fake because they feel like they have to fit in. And so hopefully, Iman, I answered your question in a in like a luminous way, because I feel like, you know, at the end of the day, it's just about being comfortable with myself. Somebody did say a few years ago, stop trying to be an artist, just be an artist. And once she said that, it really clicked in me that I don't have to try to do this, you know, like doing the work is doing the work, but I don't have to, oh my gosh, I'm trying so hard to be an artist. I am. And as soon as I was like, I am, it's amazing how everyone else is like, you are. Because it has to start here.
And it's amazing. I'm sorry, I'm just reflecting on what you just said, because it just like kind of shocked me. And how do you manage to, in the 2 words, like remind yourself all the time that, okay, what I'm doing, like right now, it's who I am. I'm the artist. I'm an artist, but I'm also this person who's in the corporate world, this person who's like working in with all those people who don't look like me, who might judge me because of the color of my skin, or because of I'm an artist, or because of how, like, what drives you, what force drives you to like find this confidence in you, be like, okay, I can do both and I want to do both. Like, is it like waking up in the morning and sitting in the mirror and look in the mirror and be like, okay, I'm dope? Is it listening to one of your song? Is it going on Instagram, like writing on journal? Like, what's your to-go motivator here?
No, that's good. That's good. I definitely, I have a morning ritual of waking up, reading the Bible, writing in my journal, reflecting on, what are the things that I would like to do today, but even more deeply, what are the things that I feel like I'm being called to do? Um,
Mm,
you know, I am reminded, fortunately, by various different people in various different ways that the output of the work that I'm doing is
mm,
being received. Um, before before even thinking about, though, like, validation from others, like, if I depended on that,
mm,
then it'd be a very rocky road, because people change all the time. People are flaky. We ourselves change all the time, and we evolve. And the things that we used to do last year, we don't do anymore. Um, and the combination of those two can easily be, you're loved by people and then you're hated by people. You say
mm.
something, you can't please everyone all the time. And so there could be a thing that you do or a thing that you say that can, right? Like, you're not
Yeah.
a pleaser. And so just because there are some people that say, hey, like, we love your stuff, I'm also well aware that there's some people that don't love my stuff and don't like my stuff and don't listen to my stuff and don't want to listen to my stuff. And, some of them are vocal about it, some of them aren't. But I think regardless, that doesn't affect who I think I am. So I caveat, the fact that I do get these external validations with the fact that even if I didn't, especially when I didn't, there was a time when it was just me that was making the music and no one knew. And I had to go through the process of, right, like, getting the first fan. And
Mm,
so, just being understanding of, like, if I feel called to do this, there are times when it's not easy. It's times when you're staying up late doing the work. There's times when you have people that are like, I hate this. This is trash. And you still have to be like, but this is what I'm called to do. And you keep going through. And I do believe that if it is meant for someone to receive, like, they will receive it. I remember when the first person was like, yo, I shared your music with my sister who's like battling suicidal thoughts, and your music has been really helpful for her in this time. I was like, oh, like, this is purposeful.
mm,
Like, when I made a song as a kind of a joke, not kind of, it was a joke, but it was a song nonetheless. And it was called You Only Haas Once, and it was a parody off of off of YOLO, the Drake song, but we called it Yoho. And to see people graduating Berkeley Haas with the logo of the song on their graduation hat, right? Like, just seeing that kind of impact and seeing how, like, that joy and, the fact that admissions was using it for recruiting new prospective students and all these different things, you're like, okay, like, what I'm doing, like, has impact, right? That belief and understanding of what I can bring, that would also help ground me, right? And so even when it's hard, there are times when you're going through things and you're like, why am I going through these things? It's hard, it's tough, you want to give up, etc. Like, remembering that why, remembering who you are. I
mm.
mean, and at the end of the day, like, I do believe that, like, this life is not just about me. It's not about me. It doesn't revolve around me, right? Like, I'm here for a specific reason, and my only goal is just to live with significance. I know that was a very long answer, but you asked me a very deep question, so I wanted to give you it all, and
Yeah.
hopefully something
Thank
resonates.
you. Thank you for
I
sharing. Sorry, Madison, go ahead.
No, you're so fine. I was interrupting, but another deep question, but I did kind of want to jump off of that. I know, like, many artists obviously deal with a lot of anxiety and fear about rejection, just because the music industry and, like, being among other super talented people is really difficult, I'm sure. So you seem so like in tune with kind of yourself and your career and like your perspective of the world and other people. I wonder if there was anything that like kind of started that mindset in you, or if you always just really knew who you are and like what you wanted to do, or like what kind of led you to this mindset. Because I know that obviously everybody deals with like confidence issues and rejection issues and stuff like that. And I'm just really like, everything that you said was really impressive and inspirational. So I was just wondering if there's anything that like signified that within yourself.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Maybe because I'm Jamaican. Like I was raised to be confident before, like, I don't know, like it wasn't like self-esteem wasn't a concept. It was like, yo, you're not gonna please everyone, but like that's okay. Like my dad would literally be like, I don't care if you don't like me. Like these are like some of the first phrases I would hear, right? My mom growing up, so I'm first generation Jamaican American. My family was born in Jamaica before me. I was the first one born here, but you know, my mom would be like, yo, we're not a minority, even, right? And so like was told to walk with my head high, even when I was in these predominantly white institutions, and, you know, like speak up. And, you know, she would have me learn things so that I could know the answer to things. And so like, be credible when you speak and speak. And if you don't know, just acknowledge that you don't know, but there's no need to like pretend, and people aren't going to like you, and that's okay. And so, you know, that for me has been foundational for sure. And then just also, you know, like, again, like I just think about it from a spiritual perspective. Like I'm not here to please people, you know, and in the sense that like, if I was just living for the approval and the pleasing of people, like I know I'm gonna lose that battle. Like I'm gonna lose that battle because people change. There's so many different, like there's just no way that I can live that way. Now that being said, like I live to serve people, and I think that's different, right? Because you can give people what they need, but if you're just trying to give people what they want, well, people's wants change all the time. And so, you know, there's a difference between like inspiring or motivating or encouraging people from like, let me say the things that I think they want me to say because that will make me liked and loved and accepted and appreciated, right? Like sometimes to inspire someone, you have to tell them something that it makes them uncomfortable, right? Like being complacent is not going to help you get to your goals. Wow, that might suck to hear, but guess what? Like, do you want to get to where you need to go? Then you got to like go. You can't just sit down and expect and assume that you're moving. So that's how I separate the two. And I think from just kind of like a a cultural perspective, as well as just how I kind of see, you know, how I should be in relationship with people. Those really kind of hone my focus.
Right. Yeah.
What you just said was just so inspiring. I was thinking about something someone told me, was like, if you try to please anyone, you will fail because everyone is different, right? So you cannot, if you please this person, has been displeasing this other person. I feel like for us as young Berkeley, like as young student in a competitive environment, it is really hard to know that, okay, I'm not here to do this major so I will look a certain way, or join this club so I'll look a certain way. I'll follow my mission. And at the end of the day, I just have to like serve or what's within what I really trust and what I really believe to be the right thing. So yeah, thank you Ace for like reminding us of that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's really inspiring.
No, of course.
No, that's so true. Everything that you said is something that at least for me, I definitely need to keep in my mind and heart, especially in this environment. So that's awesome. Kind of also going back to the music business relationship in your life, we kind of looked into your High Grade Society community and program, and we just would love for you to kind of elaborate on that whole program or community, and how that may also kind of bring together your passions of business and music within your own life and within the other people within that community as well. Just an elaboration on that. That'd be awesome.
No, definitely. I mean, the High Grade Society, it's a community of people that, by and large, here are inspired by, resonate with the music that I've been putting out, the different messages that I've been sharing, and really just by embodying that, right? It's a lifestyle. You know, it's one in which, you know, folks are not willing to accept the status quo. It's one where, you know, we understand and are motivated by doing the work in order to, you know, reach the destination. And even deeper than that, like, the destination doesn't really exist. It's more about the journey. And, you know, the milestones will come inevitably, but it's really about that work. And then just living with significance, you know, thinking about who are those that need access and opportunities to the things that you might have access to, and opportunities for being able to share. And so that's really what we embody. And, you know, the fact that no one man's an island. I do not do this by myself. Hybrid society, it's really just a manifestation of that. You know, you look at me, but if there weren't people that were lifting me up and keeping this plane flying, then you would not have heard of my stuff. So that's really what it comes down to. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful community. I know them, you know, I reach out to them, communicate with them. They communicate with me. When the wins come, they're the first ones to cheer. You know, something will drop. I might not even tell them, you know what I mean? And they would have already shared it, right? Like, it's just that kind of support and love. And I'm thankful for it. You know, they'll fight haters for me. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, chill, it's okay, right? But like, it is what it is, right? So, no, it's beautiful.
Yeah, no, that's great. Before Emily's question, just to jump off on that, you talked about challenging the status quo, and as a Berkeley has students, we're just like, you know, it just does. So how does this all, being a Berkeley has students, being in a Berkeley environment, shaped you today, who you are as an artist? I know it's how does the pillar, the people you met, the industry you were in contact with, how did it play with you as in who you are as an artist and as a young entrepreneur and as you are in a business world? Like, if you had an advice, basically, if I should like simmer down this question, like, if you have an advice to give to a younger Berkeley, like to a young Berkeley student or young Haas student, what would that be if he wanted to become an artist?
Yeah. Well, as far as it sounds like a two-part question. So the first part about how did Berkeley Haas, you know, influence me, I would definitely say tremendously. You know, I chose Haas over the other schools, primarily because of the culture and the community. And I think of the four principles, and, you know, those are, like, if anything, things that I truly resonate with. You know, beyond yourself, student always, confidence without attitude, question the status quo. I mean, these are tremendous life principles that I think really, if you live by those, you're gonna do amazing in this world. You know, as far as your impact to society, and just living a more fulfilled life. And so I do think about that. I think that's, I mean, listen, like, no one taught me how to be in the music industry, you know, like, I had to learn it, you know, and just like the fact that, like, that studying, you know, continues even to this moment, being able to give through what I do when it could be a lot easier to just not do it and just do my job, and, you know, get 8, 9 hours of sleep every day or something like that. You know, a friend of mine said that if you have a gift, it'd be a sin if you don't use it. And so, you know, I really do think of my music and what I do with it, the fact that we can even have this conversation right now, as me sharing a gift. And so, you know, it's awesome that I get to do it. It's a privilege that I get to do it. And it's just one more way that I get to go beyond myself, right? And I'm not going to go through the rest of the principles, but you know, as far as like what I would encourage another artist that wants to be an artist, I mean, like I said earlier, if you don't think you're an artist, like it's kind of hard for someone else to tell you that you're an artist. And it really is just that, like the first thing, you know, I understand, I get it, as far as like, oh, you know, being an artist is like out there and I'm over here, but it's actually a lot closer than you think. As soon as you're like, this is me, and that's the hardest part, because we can be afraid to hold on to the thing that we think we might not actually have. And so if we have this idea that like, oh, the thing that I want is way out there and I'm nowhere close to reaching it yet, then I'm trying to obtain it. And therefore, I don't know if I can call myself that yet because I don't yet have it. But, you know, I, as a person that believes that my dream is a lot bigger than the current situation that I'm in, I understand, and I say I understand because it is very tempting to be like, I'm trying, right? But I understand that it'd be kind of foolish for me to be like, I'm trying to be an artist right now. You know, just because I haven't reached this sense of like, this is like where I think the culmination of all the work that I'm doing will become, just because I don't feel like I've gotten there yet, doesn't mean that where I'm at right now is any more or less me being an artist. It's just a part of it. It's just a snapshot on the journey. And if I continue to do the work, of sure, the journey will continue to unfold, and, you know, more blessings to get, to share, and all that fun stuff. But, you know, that also does a disservice to when I first started off and I dropped my first project that, you know, people barely heard, but it started I couldn't have had the second project without the first project. And I wouldn't have had the third without the second. And then the fourth, when it went to the Billboard chart, like couldn't have happened if I wasn't doing the work and like getting the shows up to that point. And so like it all matters. And if you are like making music, like if you're writing lyrics, recording yourself, you know, making videos, putting your songs out for public consumption, then, you know, call a spade a spade. And if you're afraid to do that, that's a completely different thing, right? Like get over that fear. But really, like, what are you afraid of? Like, are you afraid of being rejected? Like, you will be rejected. So, you know, like if you're afraid of getting rejected at any point in your life, then like that's a scary way to live, because it doesn't matter if you're in music, like you will get rejected, you know, like not every shot that you take will go in the basket, but you still have to take the shots if you want to win this game. So, you know, I would say don't be afraid to hold on to what you believe you are, claim it, and no one will believe you before you believe yourself. So that's my advice.
Wow, thank you for that. I think Emma has another question concerning career, but yeah, thank you for all this like enlightening stuff. I think we're all in awe, honestly.
Of course.
All right, thank you so much, Iman, for turning it over to me. Really quick before I step into the question, I just wanted to like touch on like how much your whole like story just kind of resonated with mine, because like I don't do music, but I like to draw, and my relationship with art has been really like tangled over the past few months. But like hearing like everything you just said is like, it's a lot to take in, and it's genuinely something that just gave me like a lot of strength to push forward, and I genuinely like, really appreciate it.
That's
So
awesome.
thank you so much for that.
Of course, that's awesome to hear. I'm an illustrator as well, and you know, I claim it. And I think what's cool about it is there was a time in life when that's all I was. That's all people knew me for. And, you know, I would just randomly draw Ninja Turtles in the middle of the, you know, the classroom or whatever, you know. And then over time, I decided, no, I don't want to do AP art in high school because I don't want art to be a job. I just want it to be a hobby. And then I go to college and then I draw less. And because I'm drawing less, it's not as top of mind as it used to be. And I was doing other things. I was getting distracted by other things and this, that, and the third. And I stopped drawing for like, I don't know, like 7 years. And
Wow.
I wasn't sure if I was an artist anymore, like an illustrator. I wasn't sure. But I mean, I did it for like 2 decades, you know what I mean? And so like, it's like riding a bike. It was just, do I want to get on this bike again? And, you know, long story short, I got an iPad and I just started doodling this thing, that thing, whatever. Not crazy, not like I was when I was 9 years old, but just something just to remind myself that I can do it. And then I told myself, okay, well, from this point forward, if I start dropping like albums, like I want to do the artwork for my own albums. Not because I want all this credit and look at Ace, he's doing all these different things. Oh my gosh, right? Because it's actually important to delegate. I'm realizing that more and more. But the reason why I want to do the artwork is, Emma, for the same exact reason that you were just talking about. Like, I'm an illustrator, I'm a drawer. And like, if this is like the only time that I get to draw, anytime that I drop a project, then like I'm so excited for it because this is like my chance to do the thing, right? And so like people are buying my artwork as in like art in like framed form, right? Like they're buying the out of office shirt, or you know, the High Grade Society, like I did that logo, right? Or like the working from home, like basically all the frames behind me, like people have bought that, right? And so it's like I'm selling artwork, but the artwork is also tied to my music, right? And like, I'm also an actor too, but I get to act through my music videos or my live performances. When I'm on stage, I get to connect, right? And all these different things. And so like, I just share that with you because who knows, and I don't know your story at all, and I don't want to assume anything or what have you, but like, don't even limit yourself to what you can do with the thing that you have, with the gift that you have and the person that you are. Like, just let it be however it is that you want it and need it to be, but don't let it go, yo. That's the biggest, man. Like the music stuff is cool, all this other stuff is cool, but like drawing was my first love, yo. And there was a time when I was like, I'm no longer an illustrator, I'm no longer a drawer, and that hurt. You know what I mean? And so that's that. I fear more like not doing the thing that I actually am and regretting it for the rest of my life than actually trying it and failing, right? Don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to try and what if, Be afraid that the thing that you love, you actually like, don't like do anything with it. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to share that, you know?
Awesome.
A lot of people like want to talk to me about like music, which obviously makes sense, right? That's my like low hanging fruit to all the other stuff. But like, yo, like shading and contours, like that's me. That's like my whole, that's how my brain works. Anyway, it's crazy how I'm in like business, all the artsy stuff that I actually love. But anyway, Emma, your actual question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you again so much. So my question actually kind of stemmed off of a point that you brought up in conversation a little bit earlier. You mentioned like the grind that it took to get like that first fan. So I was just wondering, like, when did you realize kind of like, oh my gosh, like I actually made it, like things are working out with this musical career? So what was that like?
Man, I still don't feel like I made it. I don't know how to like shake that off, you know, like other people need to tell me, and then I'm like, yo, you're tripping. But you know, there are moments when it's all like a step. It's like a step by step. It's like milestone by milestone, right? So like, like there was a time when like I only had like 100 Spotify followers or something, right? So like getting 100, it was like, oh snap, right? There's 100 people that clicked follow. Yeah, that was a big deal at the time, right? And it still should be a big deal, you know what I mean? Or like, man, I'm doing a show, I create the flyer, I'm reaching out to people, I don't know what's gonna happen. And then over 100, 200 people come out to the show, and I'm able to like headline this show. And then I'm also talking to the talent buyer at the end of the show, and he's giving me the money, and I'm counting the money, and I'm like, oh snap, like I'm getting paid for this, and like I don't owe him anything. Like we actually get to like smile at the end of it, and like I go home with like a little bit of money that like, if you really think about the grand scheme of things, like I'm still in debt, you know what I mean? But like it was something I'm just like, okay, that's a win, right? Like I was able to like do that, right? And I did it a few more times, right? Or like hitting the Billboard chart as like an independent artist. And like, it was just, you know, the High Grade Society, strong marketing, a lot of prayer, and just like, this might not happen, and it happened, and you're like, oh snap, it happened. But like, what I'm kind of illustrating is just like, there's like just these moments, right, in the journey that like help you put your head up to just see what's happening, but you spend most of your time like with your head down grinding. And you know, so long as you're focused on the product that you're actually creating and who you're delivering it to, I don't know. It's just these moments where like I just look up and I'm like, oh snap, okay, here we go, right? It's like being on a train and like just reading a book, and then you just look out the window and you're like, oh wow, that's New Jersey, and then you just go back to reading your book and you're like, oh wow, that's Delaware, and then you just go back to read, and then before you know it, hopefully, right, you're in Miami, which is where your destination would be. Which I don't know if your destination should be right now in spring break. They just call it a state of emergency, but that's neither here nor there. That's besides the point. But yeah, that's kind of how it feels. So I don't know. I still feel like I'm on the train, but every now and then I just see like a new little, oh snap, let me take a picture, you know?
That's cool.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
So I just want to also like say like thank you for everything you're saying, because again, it's really inspiring for me. And since you were talking about like, you know, also like your first band and all that, we wanted to ask also how you came up with your stage name, because that's like I guess, very important, and everyone knows you for Call Me Ace, like when they listen to your music.
Yeah. No, it's a wild story. I have a friend, my friend, shout out to Gary. He was actually he's like the first person that's like ever heard me rap, you know what I mean? And I used to rap back in the day. I went by a different rap name back when I was at Columbia. And I stopped rapping for like 4 or 5 years after I graduated college, undergrad. And then when I went to Berkeley, did that whole 1.5 years. I'm about to finish my last semester and graduate from business school over winter break. I had a conversation with him, and he was basically the one that convinced me to get back into making music. He asked if I still had the gift. I was like, yeah, I guess, but you know, I'm about to be a corporate worker as a consultant. I'm about to get married. I'm about to have a full-time job. I'm not rapping like the way that I used to, and all these different excuses. And he was just refuting all of them. He's actually the same one I referenced what he said earlier on, but he was the one that told me if I have a gift, you know, it's a sin if I don't use it. And so I was like, dang, yo, like I don't even have a rap name, because I definitely wasn't gonna use the rap name back then. That was childish, you know. And I was like, I'm done with that. I'm not going back that way. And so he was like, well, what does your Instagram name say? And it literally just said, Call Me Ace, because that's what people call me. So he's like, bet, that's your rap name. Don't even think over it. Like, don't think too hard. Just run with it. And I thought it was goofy for like 3 days. I did not like sit with it well, but you know, I was just like, whatever, you know, maybe I'll switch my name later on in life, you know, but for now, let me just like run with this. But it honestly stuck. It made sense. It makes more sense every day that I continue to go as Call Me Ace. Obviously, you could just call me Ace. You don't have to call me Ace, since we're family now. But yeah, no, that's basically how it started, and it just went from there. It was, if anything, the name is really just a metaphor to not make excuses that stop you from going after what it is that you should be going after. Like you don't have to overthink all of these, oh, I need this, I need that. And you probably don't. And you're probably just using it as a way to procrastinate and hide behind fear. And at the end of the day, if you're able to do it, and if you should do it, you should probably do it sooner rather than later. And that's basically how I feel about this name that has taken a life of its own.
Thank you. And yeah, I definitely can relate with what you just say right now.
Yeah. We could all use that reminder every now and then. I got a few things and I'm like, I might as well just do it right now. So
I feel like your name in a way almost kind of embodies like what we were talking about earlier with the whole like identity part, where you're saying like, I am an artist, that's who I am. So I feel like the Call Me Ace thing, like in a way kind of like embodies that in your actual stage name too, which is super cool. And like that's how I did it.
Yeah, that's wild. It's like a meta identity, you know. It's like,
exactly.
It's just like, yeah, this is like, there are people, right, that like see me and they say, Call Me Ace, which I think is grammatically incorrect, right? Because if that's not their name, then that's not what I'm gonna call them. But like that's what they call me, right? And it's just like the idea of it, right, is exactly like you said. It's just that's what they call me, and it just further like signifies like the identity as an artist and as everything that it is. So no, Madison, you hit that on the head for sure.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I'm super impressed. Also, if you don't mind me asking, I don't know if you want to answer this, but I think Iman was gonna ask what your original stage name was that you didn't keep.
It was called the Pyro, which over time became Ace the Pyro, because like I said, people already called me Ace, and so it became Ace the Pyro, not by my choice, but by like people's choice. But yeah, there are a few things out there. I'm not even gonna help you how to spell it. I also did not know SEO back then. So things just like fell off, but with some context clues, I'm sure you could find some stuff. I don't think more than fine.
That's awesome. Thanks for answering that.
Hey, I think was crazy. I mean, I definitely rap differently. Like, and my content was it was like frat boy lifestyle. You know what I mean? I was just a wild little kid. But I still had bars. I ain't even gonna front with y'all. Like, very objectively speaking, like I thought it was dope. You know what I mean? And people did too. But no, I think what's fun is like, you know, for me now, like I was a poet before I was a rapper, right? And so I love literary techniques and I love all that stuff. And I still employ those things and I geek out about like, oh wow, like I just rhyme scheme for 2 minutes, you know what I mean? Like maybe no one will get it, right? Like my wife will tell me all the time, like 1% of the people that listen are actually like listening for those kind of things. But like shout outs to the 1% that's like, yo, I saw what you did with the thing and the thing. And I'm like, yes, right? Like I did it for you. But you know, for me right now as being an artist, it's less about like, oh, let me show you how rapidy rap I can be. And it's more about like, let me pour these messages like out, you know, let me share these stories as best as I can, because people are resonating with them. And you know, again, it just goes back to like, why am I doing this? Like, yes, it's fun, but I'm not just like doing it just because it's like there's like the hobby mindset of like, yeah, I'm just like doing, you know, like I'm just playing tennis during the day, right? And there's nothing wrong with playing tennis during the day. But you know, this is like for a reason, you know, like I want to record the tennis matches that I'm playing and I want to study them. I want to share them. I want people to see them and be like, wow, I can't believe he did that shot. And, you know, like all that kind of stuff. And I'm inspired to go out there and play tennis, or I'm inspired to like go play a sport in general. You know, I've had people reach out to me and be like, yo, the way that you're hustling your music and your day job has inspired me to be a yoga teacher. I'm like, that's so dope. You know, like I would have never, that use case never would have came to my mind, but it's because I'm doing what I'm doing, right? Just relentlessly. And like I said earlier, it's not easy, but like, this is the choice that I have to make every single day when I wake up, that enables for those kind of things to happen. So yeah, it's not just because I like to make words rhyme. Like it has to be more than that.
Totally. Yeah. We also, this not to be stalkery, but we were kind of snooping around on your Wikipedia page. Iman had a question for you, but I think dropped on the, oh, there she is. Iman, I was setting up your question about the musical influences. If you want to take over, I didn't know if you were coming back, but can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, the Senegalese Wi-Fi isn't known for its efficiency.
No worries.
You're good. No, we saw that some of your original musical influences were like Snoop Dogg, Ludacris, artists similar to that. And we were just wondering if those influences still kind of resonate with you, or if you would say as your career has progressed, and you've kind of grown up a little, have you like had your influences change? Like, would you say that you're inspired by different artists now? Like anything specific?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Those definitely are like the thing about those inspirations is that they really help me appreciate certain aspects about hip hop that I don't think I'll like lose appreciation for, you know what I mean? Whether it's flow, cadence, um, voice control, different ways that you can make a punchline and the jokes and the punchlines and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, definitely over the years, I would say that just like listening to music is dope, but there aren't like specific people in this day and age where I'm like, oh, that person. Like, actually, you know what? I take that back. Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace. Not only was he a dope rapper, but the way that he moved as a businessman,
Yeah.
coming out of business school, I was like, oh, this is dope. When I was in college, like I liked him for his raps, you know, like I remember Bullets Ain't Got No Name and all this stuff. But coming out of business school, I was like, oh, he's doper to me for that reason, you know what I mean? And just the way that he was able to navigate his deal and drop Victory Lap and all that, definitely was and still is, you know what I mean? As I just think about what he was able to do.
Totally.
Has been an inspiration for sure.
That's awesome. Yeah, we wanted to see like how that may have changed. That's awesome.
Yeah. I would say another person who I get compared to a lot, and I think I understand, but I also just love this man's hustle is Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
He's so multifaceted and is just killing it across multiple avenues, right? From comedy to like he could drop a dope rap album and then drop a dope soul album, and he also has like really dope business partnerships that he works on, and he's a writer and all these different things. He doesn't just bucket himself as like, oh, I'm a rapper, I'm a comedy joker rapper, right? Like he's been able to just do so much. Definitely an inspiration as well.
Awesome.
I don't know if I'm back, guys. I'm sorry. The Senegalese Wi-Fi isn't known for its efficiency. It's funny because when you were talking about challenging Gambino, like I see it now, but when we were talking, we compared you to. We thought you made us think about of the weekend and how you like shoot your videos and the style and the business casual thing. So yeah, that was interesting to see this other.
That's dope. Yeah.
And I was wondering if you had mark to leave as an artist, if you want people to like remember your message or what emotion or what phrase or what are you trying to like give to the word or to your audience. I know it's different for each person, but like what would that be? Like what is, regardless of what people can think, if you have something to say, like I know you have a lot of music where we can like go check it out and hear what you have to say, but if you can like summarize it in like one sentence or one phrase, what would that phrase be?
It would be that I want you to live a rich life and not just a life full of riches. So, it's when I think of life full of riches, it's easy to think about the materialistic things, but for me, it's deeper than that. It's trying to find your identity in these stuff that you put on. It's material things like bags and clothes and shoes, but it's also status and rank and different identities as far as like classism and racism and all these different things, and we just wear these things to try to create some sense of like worth, when in reality we don't need any of those things to live a rich life. And instead, living a rich life is one of connection, one of empathy, one of love, and being able to build and push each other forward as brothers and sisters. And so yeah, that's what I would say. I know you wanted me to keep it short.
Amazing. That's
Yeah. Does anyone have any like final questions? I feel like that was an awesome thing to end on.
Well, there was this one question I just wanted to say about how you include in your music like a multicultural perspective. And I was listening to some of your songs and you like speak or sing in Spanish.
Yeah.
And I'm Latina, so I'm like, oh, I could really connect with it.
Hey, dale.
So I was like, yeah, I just want to know more about that, like your experience with, other cultures and like traveling, because I know you love to travel too.
Yeah, no, I lived in Barcelona for a little bit, but even before then, I've went on a mission trip to Medellin y Providencia in Colombia, and that was a really dope experience, and just really seeing my ability to get to connect with folks that don't speak the same language as you. Growing up, I always wanted to speak Spanish. I'm from Bridgeport, Connecticut. My next door neighbor was Puerto Rican, and I was like, man, like I want to be Puerto Rican too, you know what I mean? Because they treat me like I look Puerto Rican, and therefore, they would treat me as such, right? And being able to travel in the Caribbean, when I went to Panama, and they were like, oh, like my cousin's Jamaican, like, oh, this is so cool, Or like when I was in Cuba, and they're like, mira, somos africanos, and they're like, super fair skin, but it was like, it was just all love, you know what I mean? I've always loved and appreciated the diaspora within Latam. And then ironically, in business school, I went to Spain to go study abroad. And so I came back speaking like Castellano Spanish, like I was, saying gracias and un placer, like, they're like, yo, why are you talking like that? You know what I mean? It's just, anyway, but yeah, no, it's I love to travel. I love, it goes back to living a rich life, just being able to explore, go through different cultures, and just realizing that like the world is so much bigger than the one page that we live on, and being able to find more opportunities to connect with people that might not think like you, might not speak the same language as you, might not come from the same backgrounds as you. It just helps you just have more empathy for different people in different environments, going through different experiences. I also recognize that, my fan base isn't all just based in, Bay Area, California, or New York, or, Bridgeport, Connecticut, or whatever, right? And so just, it's really cool to, like, for example, like every week I get updates on like where am I being Shazammed, and just be like, there's always like a country on there or a state on there that like I just don't know. I was like, where is this? You know what I mean? I just started Googling, right? And just like, I think that's cool too, the power of technology in this day and age. I think being an independent artist and being able to have your music go out without really being restrained by, the powers that be, really do also enable for that ability to connect with different cultures. And I do my best to, just keep that top of mind for sure. And yeah, I have a few more songs that are a mix of Spanish and English coming soon. And yeah, definitely gotta do that.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll be playing it at the family parties.
Hey, pa'lante, let's do it.
Yeah, no, we cannot wait to hear from the rest of your songs and what you want to next. Honestly, it's such a blessing to be able to say that we've been to the same school as you, that we had the opportunity to interview you, and definitely thank you for your time. And after getting to know you better, you're such a like deep and amazing person. You taught me so much during that hour, and I hope that like our audience would get the same vibe. We will do the same vibe. We'll do our best to like reportray that vibe as much as the energy you gave us today. So yeah, thank you for that. I don't know if anyone have any other words, but it was amazing meeting you, and wish you the best, and definitely gonna hear from you soon or about
Yeah,
you.
exactly what Iman said. That was an awesome conversation, and we really, really appreciate taking time out of your obviously super busy schedule to speak with us. So thank you so much. We totally appreciate that. That was awesome.
No, of course, of course. Thank y'all. I'm equally blessed to have gone to the same school as y'all. I wish I was able to do an interview with the four of you just so I can hear your stories, and hopefully I'll be able to do that in the near future. But just the fact that y'all have this podcast, that you're working on it, and having these type of conversations, I think is really cool. So I also look forward to seeing how your journeys unfold, and of course, like I'm here So long as I'm here, you already know how to find me. And yeah, I hope this resonates with all of our listeners as well.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
And could you say where our listeners can find you on social media so they can look you up?
For sure. Appreciate you for asking that one. So yeah, callmeace.com. You can find me on social media, call me Ace Legit, Legit. And yeah, YouTube, Apple Music, Tidal, Spotify, wherever you listen to music, call me Ace is 3 words. Yeah, you can just find me, let me know what you think. I'm a real human being. You can reach out, let me know. And yeah, I'll respond back. So yeah, that should be good, I think. If I'm on some new if there's a new social media and you hear this like 5 years later and I didn't mention it, I'm probably on there, just find me.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again. That was amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a blessed
Thank you
rest
so
of the day.
much.
Of
You
course.
too.
Yeah.